Hello, everybody. The NBA draft entry list was released this week with a couple big names choosing to already withdraw and many more keeping their toes in the waters of the draft. The captain, Mike Holland, joins me live to break that down, plus all the commitments and portal dwellers you can handle. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that One and Done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. We're powered by the galaxy's greatest website, drroto.com. I am your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train. Follow me on X at Dr. William Cannon. I'll follow you back. You should also do yourself a favor and follow this man. He is El Capitan around these parts, the captain of the One and Done ship at MC Holland 34 on Twitter. The OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
Hey, what's up, buddy? I'm glad we're back on. And guess what? I was hoping it was May 1st, so that way we could talk about ending April, since you were so looking forward to just ending April and not June or July. But we're gonna be busy this summer, man. I mean, portal's winding down. I think I got about 15% of the players on our top 500 on drroto.com available. Not a lot of the top 50 is left. We're going to talk about some of those guys making their commitments. We got some coaching interviews hopefully lining up here soon. I know our guy Eric the Blue is working really hard on that, reaching out to programs, see if we can chat with some of their head guys, and we'll be looking at these rosters as we go through, and man, hopefully much more content as we roll through.
Eric the Blue at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. Make sure you give him a follow for all the best fantasy content that you can stand, and of course, pushing the buttons tonight, the Hall of Famer himself, CC Hustle, at The Real Napier, our guy, Nape, on the ones and twos tonight. So show him some love in the live chat, the liveliest live chat in all of college basketball. Starting off tonight with our guy, CT Huggin, our guy, we know is Cam. What it do, indeed. Good to see you there in the live chat. If you don't know Cam, we got the opportunity to meet up with our guy Cam down at the Final Four. What an amazing time we had down there in general, but it was good to meet up with some breadheads for sure. Look at that Snake's Eyes hopping in the chat here. Hoosiers portal on fire. We talked some Indiana earlier in the offseason, so make sure you get over to the YouTube channel, like and subscribe, push all those buttons, turn on the notification bells. On our way to I think it's 11 gazillion and one subscribers is the goal, I think, right now. So maybe you could help us get to like 1530 if you push those buttons now. We could maybe shoot for that and go from there. So push all those buttons. At One and Done CBB is where you can find us on all the socials. Make sure you follow us there after you hit the subscribe button here and hop in the live chat like Cam and Snake's Eyes have done. All right, Mike, like you said, a lot going on in the world of college basketball. We're talking at 365 here on this show. And right now we're living in the NBA draft waters, as a lot of these guys are as well. The draft entry list was released. A couple notable withdrawals off the top, Mike. Alex Caravan heading back to UConn. That was a big question mark that we had heading into this whole process, whether or not he would return and what that would make that roster look like for Coach Hurley. And then, of course, Keyshawn Hall transferring to Auburn after pulling his name out of the draft. Mike, what are your thoughts on those two and anything else on your mind?
Yeah, big move here. I mean, honestly, you look back, they were, UConn pretty close to pulling that upset over the national champion, Florida. So, you get your core back, and Solo Ball had a really nice year. You're getting Caravan back, obviously a two-time national champion, Terrace Reed. That's a pretty solid core. Jalen Stewart's back, and then I like their additions, right? Silas Demarius coming over from Georgia, giving them that bigger guard and facilitator. Malachi Smith, a nice player, coming over from Dayton. So, yeah, I mean, his return means a lot. I think that's going to put them right there to challenge for the Big East crown. So I really like the construction and makeup of this roster. I do like them to have a little bit of a bounce back, a little bit down on them. Heading into, list time last year was a little down on them defensively. I think they're still going to have some problems defensively, but, I think they're going to be a little bit improved in that area. As for Auburn, they're going to be transfer heavy. I mean, they basically lost everybody. Really, the only opportunity that they have for someone to return is to Hot Bedford, and he's on that draft list entry. So we'll see how his workouts go. Hall, you mentioned him, right? He's the one that we're kind of spotlighting here. He's going to have some big shoes to fill, right? They're losing Janai Broom. Chad Baker-Mazara's gone. Anytime you have a Final Four team that's completely dismantled, right? These transfers that come in are going to play a huge part of the following year. So Hall, obviously a special player. Really like his game. I think Pearl's going to get the most out of him, man. But both teams, they're going to be in good position heading into next year.
No doubt about it. Big shoes to fill there, indeed, for Hall. How about, Mike, a few guys here that have not withdrawn yet? They still have some time, right? Still have some time, obviously, to pull out of the draft consideration. And now when we talk about these guys, Mike, we have to talk about them. We have to sort of break them into different categories here. We're going to talk about guys who are not thinking about transferring and sort of entered the draft consideration. Guys who are transferring and have either made a decision on where they're going or are still in the transfer portal.
Yep.
So let's start with some non-transfers first. Carter Bryant, Arizona. Josh Hubbard of Mississippi State. Otega Owe of Kentucky. Oh, Big Blue Nation. I expect to see a spike in views right now just because I said Big Blue Nation there. And then Thomas Sorber of Georgetown. And then some guys that are in the portal as well. Yaxel Lendeborg, who is, it sounds like Michigan, right? He's a Michigan man, and what a get there for them. Jameer Watkins, Darian Williams, and RJ Lewis all still in the portal there. So, Mike, out of those players that I mentioned, if they withdraw, if they do decide to come back, which of those do you think make the biggest impact for their respective teams, or maybe future teams, right? The ones that are still in the portal.
Yeah, 100%. I think the first guy on that list from the notable non-transfers, guys that didn't hop in the portal that can come back to school, Thomas Sorber. What he did for Georgetown, he basically single-handedly, along with Micah Peavy, put them back on the map, man. What an excellent freshman year that he had. His impact defensively cannot be understated. If he decides to come back, Georgetown is going to look a hell of a lot better. Josh Hubbard's an interesting case, right? He's kind of been the engine for Mississippi State. They had Jaden Epps, the Georgetown transfer, coming over. We kind of talked about if that really fits, two smaller guards. Can they play off of each other? But obviously, you want to try and figure it out and bring in as much talent as you can. So, I think Mississippi State is in a good spot, regardless if they lose Hubbard or if Epps has to kind of take over more of a ball dominant role. So we'll kind of follow that one. And then Otega Owe, like you said, Blue Nation, he's a player that really progressed. I didn't even think he was going to be much of a factor when he came over from Oklahoma. We just didn't see him really do anything on that outside the defensive end last year for Oklahoma. And then this past year, obviously, really showed his offensive game. So I think Sorber probably the biggest impact of those names if he does come back. Of the guys that are, transferring, it's kind of tough to say, right? We know Lendeborg is going to Michigan. That is obviously huge. I'm kind of shocked that he's coming back. He's got such a versatile game. I would not be surprised if he's in the draft. That somebody could fall in love with him late first round, get him a guaranteed contract, and that's kind of the end of that.
Where does he fall on the big board right now?
Lendeborg, I believe he is third. Okay. Yeah, he's third on a big board. So all these guys that we're talking about as far as transfers, these are kind of the guys in the top 50 that were that were essentially waiting on to make decisions. I mean, we have Darian Williams, he's number 2. Lendeborg was number 3. RJ Lewis is number 6. So yeah, I mean, there's some talent if these guys decide to pull out. I think Watkins is the guy that's probably of the 3 guys that we profiled as trying to make the jump is probably going to be the one that's going to come back. I think Darian Williams and RJ Lewis probably have a pretty good shot of, impressing, a scout, a head coach, a GM, right, and getting a late first round nod. So it'll be interesting to follow because these guys make a decision to come back out and they transfer, man. Wherever they go, they're going to impact not just the conference that they go to, but the entire landscape of college basketball.
You sort of beat me to where I was going. I was going to ask you, which one of these players do you feel like you just look at him, you could be like, this guy could probably stand to improve his stock by going back? And is Watkins?
It's got to be Watkins, man. He's just got to cut down on the turnovers. You love his size, you love his positional flexibility, 3-level scorer, but maybe just a year away from the Leonard Hamilton mess, right? Over at Florida State, gets gets to a different place and really shows out. So I think he probably has the most to gain by coming back. I don't, ceilings for Darren Williams and RJ Lewis, I feel like we've kind of seen those. Whereas Watkins, I think, getting into a better system in college, we may be able to see a little bit more from him.
Hop in the live chat. Let us know who you think will go to the draft out of those players. We'll come back. Let us know who you think. If Watkins is the guy that could stand, to use, a little more seasoning out of that bunch. 106 players have filed as early entry candidates in the 2025 NBA draft, Mike. That is quite a I was trying to come up with a superlative word that is, for large here, because the gap between 2021, when there were 353 players in a 2-round 30-team draft or whatever, right? Do the math there. I'm not really into math right now at this point, but that doesn't add up, right? But now we're down from 353 in 2021 to 106. Obviously, we talked earlier, they have until May 28th to withdraw. We said, they got a whole month here basically and remain eligible for college. But I think what this points to, Mike, is exactly how, exactly what we thought would happen when NIL became a big deal. It sort of has changed the college landscape. More guys are like, hey, why even bother going and trying to play in Europe or start, try to latch on a G League roster or something like that when I can make $2 million on campus right now? Don't you think that that's a big part of this?
Yeah, I mean, look at the traditional big has basically stayed in college. Kofi Coburn and those guys were kind of the last of the traditional bigs, and you're like, why are you going to the NBA? Now we're seeing them hang around, right? You're seeing, Ballo and Dickinson and Osabor and, all these guys where it's like there's not really a clear path for them NBA-wise, just because the game can be so much different. In college, you can play, everybody can have a different style in college. Shadir Sanders, Eric in the comments here. I don't think so, man. I think he's going to be suiting up for the old Browns there, man. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things, Jay. Like, why? Like, remember when we were talking about Nigel Pack like 3 years ago, and it was like, remember when his deal was like $300,000, and we were like, oh my god, that's like a lot of money. And now we're like, honestly, somebody on Twitter said that Kentucky's roster is probably going to be right around $20 million this year. Like that, I don't know if that number is quite accurate, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty close to it.
I think that's more than the Pittsburgh Pirates' entire 25 million makes. But.
Exactly, man. So it's like, why would you risk going and being a second rounder, playing in the G League when you can literally play 30 games in college and making $800,000 in 30 games in college for playing like 26 minutes sounds like a great deal. Yeah, Cam, I saw that today too. That's not Kurt Bowles. You don't listen to Kurt Bowles. So yeah, man, just one of those things where it's like, it's a better path to stay in college, man. Your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely, man. And it's good for the game. It's good for the game that we cover. It's good for college basketball in general.
Good for the NBA too, I feel like, right? Like,
dude, 100%, because these guys aren't it's the guys that have either put in their entire time in school, they're out of eligibility, and then it's like we just got to see if they got it, or these guys are the guys that are getting the advice to go to the draft at this point are the ones that need to be putting their name in the draft. It's not these fringe guys that are hoping to impress one assistant GM in some warehouse hoop somewhere because they go on a hot streak and, hit it off right with them. Like, no. These are guys that are fringe or way farther away from the fringe anyway of playing in the league. It's good for the league. It's good for college basketball. And it's good that these guys are getting paid to be there. I'm all for it. It's a lot of money. I understand that. I also understand why people get emotional afterwards when, at the end of a season, when we hear college basketball players talk about how they're treated on social media and talk about how they're, and the things that they have to go through.
Yeah. It's part of the territory now.
It's even more a part of the territory, Mike. It was a part of the territory before, right? It was a huge part of the territory before, and people dealt with it then. Now that you're making $2 million, even $800,000, whatever it is,
for 30 games and no tournament,
I'm not saying you don't have a right. I'm not saying you don't have a right to, say, hey, this is how what y'all are saying makes me feel. Just understand, man, this is a part of it.
Right.
Okay? You're a pro now. And I'm all for it. It's great for this game that we cover.
100%.
Again, let's hop in this live chat and see. Oh, of course, it's going off the rails already. Darren hopping in there. Best dressed by the live chat because of your new one and done, Riz. Shout out to Darren.
Yeah, I saw the swag on the old
Got it. And
Twitterverse.
okay, Cam asking if somebody voted in his hat poll. I did vote on the hat poll. I voted white. Okay. I didn't think the green would, I didn't think, I voted the white hat on there. So yes, so I voted in that poll as well. What else do we got going here? Oh, North Shadir Sanders. My God, man. I don't even want to talk about, I can't even hear about this guy anymore. It's just been covering it's like, I'm trying to
I just hear Mel Kiper in my ear when I hear the name Shadir Sanders.
I'm so glad that what's his name just shut him down. Reese Davis.
Reese Davis.
That was super pro Reese Davis. Just shut that shit down from the jump. I love it. Anyways, hey, let's get back to college basketball here. You hope the NBA lottery is rigged again this year and the NBA rewards the Mavs for giving the Lakers look. You wish. Up there in Mavs country, Darren. But thanks for hopping in there, man. It's always good to see Darren in the live chat. Darren's super active with us on the socials, and we wish that you would be active live chat, socials, wherever you want to be. At One and Done CVB is the social media. To get into the live chat, just hit that subscribe button. Push it.
It's easy.
Push it real good. And then tell a couple of the college basketball hoop heads in your life about us and have them push it too. We would appreciate you for sure. All right, let's get to one more bit of news here. Maryland and coach Buzz Williams. Buzz creating a buzz already in a short time on campus over there, landing 5-star recruit Darius Adams, who recently decommitted from UConn. He announced yesterday that College Park will be his new home for the upcoming season. Mike, Buzz Williams making things happen for the Terps already.
This is what Buzz does. He just does it for 5 or 6 years, and then he goes to his next destination. But obviously, getting a 5-star, right? That's gonna make some waves here, man. Especially a kid that can shoot the way that he can. He's 6'5", he can create off the dribble, can shoot the three really well, can guard multiple positions on defense. And the thing that I was kind of interested in hearing from him is that he was quoted as saying that he liked what Buzz has done with guards at A&M. Now we know Wade Taylor was a big time player in the SEC for a couple of years. Rick Phelps was there. He liked what Buzz did with those kids on and off the court. So as much flack as Buzz kind of gets, right, for just kind of hopping off every 5 to 6 years, it's kind of interesting to hear. Maybe got some information that Buzz cares about his guys, regardless if he jumps ship every 5 to 6 years. Those type of relationships off the court are just as important as the ones on the court. So as far as his role, Jay, we'll have to see, right? It's kind of tougher for if you're not a point guard or a big coming in from high school, these guys that come in at wing, we'll have to see, right? Because they're very shooting reliant. So I think he's more of a longer term prospect. Maybe a sophomore, junior year really gets it going, but we'll see what he can give them. Absolutely some scoring punch at least off the bench in his first year.
You talked about Buzz Williams forming relationships with his players. Right now, when you talk about a guy like Darius Adams, who might be a year away from really starting to, show off that why he has that 5-star shine, right? In the day and age of the portal, you have to make sure that you keep these guys on campus for multiple years. Buzz Williams is a relationship guy. It makes sense to take a guy like Darius Adams if you can keep that relationship with him and keep them on your campus. And that's what Buzz Williams is good at, and I think he'll be able to do it. Good stuff there for the Terps. Let us know. I don't know. We got any Maryland fans in the house?
Yeah,
any hoop heads from any Terps, any Turtles up there, out there in One and Done universe? Look, Darren, I'm not saying that Buzz Williams teams at A&M were just, the most exciting thing ever. But the thing is
Wade Taylor's the preseason SEC player of the year.
You've got talent there, and you see that he's not afraid to make stars out of guys. You have to have coaches that aren't afraid to make a guy a star. You can't guys aren't always just stars, right? You see the guys that have it, and some guys just have it, right? But coaches like Buzz Williams can take guys and turn them into stars. They might not be the flashiest stuff, and obviously Darius Adams 5-star, that's great, but Buzz Williams is the guy that can do that. He's done it before. We'll see if he can do it again for sure. Thanks for hopping in the old live chat. Scott Van Pelt is not a friend of the show, Cam. I don't
we don't know.
If he might be, I don't know. SVP, shout us out.
He might be a little busy.
He's fine. He's okay. He's probably sitting back watching One and Done right now with the rest of the One and Done universe, all the breadheads hanging out. Good stuff. Shout out SVP, friend of the show. ? Maybe. Possibly. Probably. Who knows? Hit the subscribe button and we'll find out later. All right. So do all that stuff. Thanks for everybody for keeping the live chat rolling. And let's hit this. We love ourselves a 5-pack. We saw it on Twitter the other day. We had a 5-pack. Let's talk about a 5-pack of big time commits right there on the screen. Stojakovic, shooter. Yeah, that's Stojakovic. I say it every time because if you say, why does that name sound familiar? Yeah, that's his dad. Yes, he's a shooter. 17.9 points per game, 4.7 boards, and a block. I mean, does a little bit of everything. Illinois, Mike. We'll get to it in a minute. Let's get through all these players and then we'll get some thoughts on it. Okay, so Stojakovic to Illinois. Chad Baker-Mazara is going to go out to the West Coast. USC, he'll be able to rent cars for all of his teammates. That's great for them. Darian Reed committing to Oklahoma, the 6'8", 220-pound forward, leaving one SEC school for another. Reed is 54th on the big board. I don't know. I thought he might have been a little lower. Mike, tell me when you get to Reed in a minute, tell me why you're a little bit higher on him. Cedric Coward committing to Duke. And then Kennard Davis Jr. committing to BYU. So obviously these are some big time commits, not just in name but stature as well. These are some ball players, bunch of guys 6'6" and taller, getting it done and finding their new teams to have some success on. So break it down for us, Mike.
Yeah, so Stojakovic, this is a huge pickup for Coach Underwood. I'm assuming that Kasparis Yakashonis for sure is gone. We talked about the early entrant list. He's probably going to be a lottery pick. Will Riley, wired to score. I could see him going into the 15 to 20 range, right? Just a really good score, really good size. I'm going to assume that both of those guys are gone. And when you look at the roster with both of these guys gone, they needed someone that can go get buckets, a 3-level type scorer, and that's exactly what Stojakovic is. I thought he made a pretty good jump his sophomore year. His true shooting percentage went up. He played his first season over there at where was it, at Cal, I believe. Or not, he played his second season at Cal. So for him, it's more like he's got to shoot it a little bit better, right, for his metrics to to really pop off. And I think scouts want to see more than just the scoring. Like his dad with the Kings is a pretty solid passer. So we'll see what he does. I think when you get into Coach Underwood's system, you play him with some better talent. The Vintage brothers are going to be there, right? Especially Tomislav. Like that's gonna really help him out. Having someone like Kylan Boswell in there is definitely gonna help out. So yeah, I think this is a really good fit, and I think he's gonna get a lot of buckets for this Illinois program. CBM, he kind of made the joke that he can rent cars there. It feels like he's kind of underappreciated as the year closed for Auburn. He had some struggles down the stretch, but overall still a solid body of work, a solid career. Like it's gonna be a weird fit with USC because looks like they're going to have to play like the de facto point guard position and this like true positionless system that Musselman's going to roll out. So I think he plays well in that role. He has a solid assist to turnover ratio in his career, and he gives you like that length and size you want defensively. And USC is going to be much improved on that end this year. You mentioned Reed and why I have him so high on the board. Just a former top 50 type recruit. You watch him in the limited minutes that he plays, and he's like, man, he just really stands out and pops out. And he had to battle some injuries last year, and this is the Alabama team that was really deep. So, just the fact that when he was on the court, he was pretty effective. Now, he does need to work on his mid-range game and his 3-ball, but really strong around the rim. And, it's just kind of one of those things that you're going over to Oklahoma and Porter Mercer, and he hasn't really had a guy with this type of ceiling in the front court there for the Sooners there. So he should get ample opportunity next to Tay Davis, Mo Waggy's there. So I do like Reed's upside. Cedric Coward, I don't know if I'm low on this kid or if I'm too high on this kid at 59. Like he dominated the Big Sky a couple of years ago. in Coach Riley's system, and he was on his way to dominating the WCC, but he never made it to WCC play because it was cut short because of injury. So really the concern that I have, Dan, we brought this up a ton over the past month, is can the 3-level scoring and playmaking ability that we see against these these lower mids and mids, right, is that going to transfer when you get to an ACC level? So like you look at it, his tier 1 career is pretty ugly. 16% from 3 in 9 career games, a sub 25% turnover rate in those 9 games, and an assist rate that is way down from where he is on his career rate. So those are certainly some red flags for me. Now, obviously, he's going to play with a lot more talent at Duke. I just don't think he's going to be like this, guy that's going to be putting up 18 and 7 boards and 5 assists. I think he'll have more of like a Zion James factor where there's just a really, really solid player playing with, NBA type talent. So might be a little too high on him, just kind of when you break it down from a competitive standpoint, but we'll see. We'll see how he does when he plays with better players around him. And then Davis, it's a special team that Coach Young's putting together. I think he's a solid piece to bring in. He's not going to have anywhere the role that he had at SIU, but he can be really serviceable as a microwave option off the bench. And at BYU, you got to be able to score the basketball to play in that offense. He's really good off ball screens as the handler. He's 84th percentile. And so, he's going to benefit from playing with guys like AJ Devonta, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders. It's going to be hard for him to crack the starting lineup. So, just kind of one of those things, man, where like all of these guys are definitely going to situations where I think we can see the best of them. But for like Coward and Davis, I would kind of tamper some expectations there based on what you see at the mids versus what we're going to see in the Big 12 and the ACC.
All those numbers there, beside the players, of course, are their respective rankings at the drroto.com big board transfer portal, brought to you by my guy right there, MC Holland 34, my guy Mike. So get over to drroto.com and check out Mike's big board and everything else that the guys are doing over there with Doc and the guys in the group and the old gals too. We got some ladies over there doing some good work for Doc. So make sure you check everything out at drroto.com, including that big board here. All right. What do we got in the live chat?
Live chat is heated up,
I saw
man.
Johnny K talking about the Balkan Ballers. What's up, Johnny K? Good to see you in there. Man, didn't know, but Johnny's letting us know that his fam is Czech Republic and Slovakia. Ice hockey and tennis. Yeah, totally get that. So the Yugo Euros, if you will, quote unquote. Good stuff there, Johnny. Good to see you in the chat. You're making Cam feel better. Mike, I don't know if you saw that there talking about Goward and his numbers there. Maybe,
of course, a North Carolina guy would like those type of numbers.
For sure. And I'm going to say I need to give Darren credit real quick before we move on. Is CBM like LeBron? He wants to play with his son in LA. I wish I would have thought of it. I'm going to give you the credit because I wish I would have said that first. Very good, Darren. Good stuff, Darren.
Maybe we got a new guy in here, Paul Costa.
Yeah, Paul.
What's up, Paul? Who would be a solid backup rotation 4-5 for Connecticut? Yeah, I think you're, obviously looking at Caravan and Reed at the 4-5. Jalen Stewart is back, so he's probably going to be in that rotation. Jaden Ross is expected to be back. So, those two guys have a high pedigree. We haven't really seen their ceilings yet, but I think you kind of want a defensive big, someone like Kechienze from Penn State, I think would be interesting. More of a defensive big at the 5 because Terrence Reed is more of an offensive-minded. So I wouldn't even say more of. He is an offensive-minded center. So yeah, appreciate the comment, Paul. Yeah, I don't think we've seen you in here. So welcome
to see you in there, Paul. We might have, I don't know, Mike. We got the breadheads like to linger. Just sort of linger sometimes, right? Like, and they don't always hop in the light.
Do they have to?
Because Paul, you have to let it linger. Listen, I think Paul has been in the big board. In the live chat before. If it rings a bell, but Paul might be one of those guys that just checks in every now and then. We appreciate that too, man. Paul obviously has hit that subscribe button because he's hanging out in the live chat, the liveliest live chat in all of college hoops. So we appreciate Paul for playing his part and doing his thing in the one and done universe.
How can I forget that Stojakovic was at Stanford first? It's like when you get the Stanford Cal mix up, The band is on the field.
The band is out on the field. The band is – all right, good stuff there. All right. Like and subscribe, everybody. Do your thing. let's get to, what do you say, Mike? How about some mid-major commits? Another 5-pack, shall we? Another 5-pack. You know, Mike loves the mid-majors. I mean, we all love some mid-major hoops, but I call them big dippers. You know, Mike calls them down transfers, whatever you want to call them. These are some guys, you know, I like big dippers personally. I think it sounds very, very nice.
Mine's a little more derogative, I guess is what you're trying to say.
I'm just saying, some guys that might have been little dippers where they were, and they're dipping down, trying to be the big dippers in their respective mid-major schools here. So Aiden Mahaney, obviously, winner, first of all, committing to UC Santa Barbara to try to get some run there, 142, 143 in that range on the big board here. Mikey Williams committing to Sacramento State. Garway Dual, a name that we recognize and we've talked about quite a bit at some different schools. Not committing to McNeese, landing at McNeese now, the great defender. Chandler Jackson committing to Arkansas State, and Justin Fernandez, now a Blue Hen of Delaware. It's 5 guards if you get G. It's not just what happens when all of the one and done universe hangs out, just a bunch of G's. No. These are all guards right here on this 5-pack, including 3 of them who are all 6'5", 205 in Dual, Jackson, and Fernandez. What are your thoughts here? Some good players dipping down here into the mid-majors, looking to get some run and really show what they got.
Yeah, I like Paul jumping in there some more still, but yeah, he's familiar with obviously Aiden Mahaney in his game. Obviously a tough year with the Huskies, absolutely hunted defensively, and offensively never really got comfortable. So moving out to the Big West, you know, he's out there at St. Mary's balling out. Now going to head back out west. So we'll see, man. He should have much more success. I think it's an awesome pickup for the Gauchos. I still think he can make a big impact. You know, the Big West was no joke. They were pretty good last year. We loved covering them, you know, as we went through the season. So you look at Mikey Williams, man. He's you know, a roller coaster, man. Former 5-star, legal troubles, started at Memphis, transferred to UCF, just never really got it going. And now all of a sudden, like, Sacramento State's been like in the spotlight this offseason, man. They hired Mike Bibby to be the head coach, which we were like, okay, that's pretty random. And then Shaq announced as the GM, I think that was yesterday, when this commitment went down. So, I mean, those are 2 pretty big names, man. And yeah, here we go. We're bringing in a guy with a lot of baggage, but huge upsides. We'll see if that works out for Sacramento State. Duval, love his game defensively. You know, Coach Bill Armstrong is a disciple of Will Wade. Has done a really good job putting the roster together, man. He's going to find, you know, offense much easier in the Southland. But regardless, if he doesn't find much more, I mean, he's going to be a clear defensive player of the year candidate in the Southland. Jackson, just untapped potential. Kid was a former 4-star. Found his way into the Florida State starting lineup, but it feels like everybody found their way into the Florida State starting lineup at some point. He just never really clicked during his tenure, but he's got nice size and athleticism. You know, going to be a pretty solid athlete in a Sun Belt conference. So I expect him to put up bigger numbers. And then Fernandez, like, stop if you heard this before, but another formerly high-rated recruit. You know, when he got his opportunity at Providence, he delivered in some games. I mean, 17 against Villanova, 15 against Xavier. If you're able to do that in the Big East, I mean, I think you should be able to find some space in the CAA, man. So kind of one of those things, man, where, you know, these guys, we see them, they get more opportunity, they put up big numbers. And I'm expecting all 5 of these guys to have really good years in these programs that they're going to.
Aiden Mahaney, Mikey Williams, Garway Dual, Chandler Jackson, and Justin Fernandez dipping down to the mid-major ranks. Easy for me to say, but easier for them to play. We're going to see what happens as they get some run at their respective schools. Mike, you were right. Paul let us know it is his first time here. Maybe I was just trying to. Maybe it's because the live chat, just everybody feels so welcome as it is. You know, everybody feels like we've been here forever. The liveliest live chat in all of college basketball. Good stuff there, Paul. Thanks for checking in with us tonight. Mike, I don't know. Darren's asking about UNT. Did they not make the mid-major? I don't think. Unfortunately, did we not have any UNT talk tonight? Oh, sorry.
I'll give him one, man. I like Dylan Arnett coming over. Like, I think he's going to be a very, very solid player for them. You know, they've got obviously a huge transfer portal class coming in. Demarion Watson, you got to be excited about him. He's going to be kind of the crown jewel. But I think Dylan Arnett the power forward coming over from Cleveland State. He was a really good player in the Horizon League. Obviously, Demarion Watson's going to get a lot of the shine coming over from Iowa State last year. So, yeah, I mean, Mean Green can be pretty tough, man.
How about it? Who's talking?
How about it?
Who's talking UNT basketball? How about it? Who's talking UNT basketball on April 30th? One and done, baby. That's why you're here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. I agree, Johnny. Sacramento State might be the most interesting they've ever been. When the hell would they have been more interesting than this?
Yeah.
Ever.
Man.
Like,
so good.
It's going to be fun to watch this unravel because I don't know.
What a mix, man. Like
Shaq,
just mix it in, dude.
This is what's great about it right now is you can have these grand experiments, and if it fails, who cares? Like, really, there's nobody cares anymore. There's so much money involved in this.
It's like Doug Gottlieb.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood. I don't want to talk about him tonight. All right, hit those like and subscribe buttons. We're going to get to something new here, Mike, a little bit of a new format here. We're going to go to the top players available on the board, but with a little bit of a caveat, okay? I'm going to give you 5 players, all right? And actually, as a matter of fact, I think they're going to scroll across the bottom of the screen here in a minute. So everybody watching along at home can play.
That's like a game show host, Jay.
Well, yes. So do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
The category is all right. Actually, let's do it like that. All right. The category is bucket getters. All right. So right now we got PJ Haggerty, Darian Williams, blame it on the Boogie Fland, RJ Lewis, and Jameer Watkins. Haggerty, Williams, Fland, Lewis, and Watkins. What do you got?
For best bucket getter, I think Darren's pretty familiar with the guy that I'm going to go with here, at least for my first pick, and that's definitely going to be PJ Haggerty, the guard from Memphis. I mean, the guy averaged nearly 22 points per game. 22. Whoever lands this guy, that offense is going to become insanely better. And there's been some talk that Jay, your burnt orange might be involved. Maybe finding a little bit of extra money from that $35-40 million that Kirk Bowles was talking about that football team getting and sliding it over. But the rumor is that he wants $4 million and to play the point guard position. So I like you're kind of handcuffing. I don't know why he didn't jump in the portal earlier, right? Like when I don't know, it didn't make a lot of sense at that point. But we'll see. Somebody will reach down deep, and there's still a chance like he could return to Memphis. I think it would be kind of weird, because he'd probably have to play off the ball. I don't know a 5'11" Doug McDaniel is going to be able to play off the ball with him. But, yeah, PJ Haggerty, my top bucket getter that's available on our big board here. And then, man, it's a tough list. Williams, Flan, Lewis. I got to go Jameer Watkins, though, as my second guy here. Johnny K is here with me, man. I don't know if he knew what the silhouette was. He watches, looks at a lot of Jameer Watkins picks on Google. But I assume Johnny K knows that Watkins is an absolute bucket getter. Get him out of Florida State. Get him out. Now, he's got to stop turning the ball over, man, like to be super effective. So getting out of the Florida State offense, cutting down the turnovers, I think there's a little bit of meat left on the bone if he finds the right situation. But he may go to a situation where he's maybe not asked to score as much, but his efficiency should probably go up in those type of scenarios. But as far as like pure buckets and raising his true shooting percentage and be able to help a team out, I think Jameer Watkins is that guy for sure.
Haggerty and Watkins are two fine choices. If you have a differing opinion than Mike, if you like Darian Williams, or blame it if you want to, if you don't want to blame it on the sunshine or the moonlight or the good times, if you just want to blame it on Boogie, you can do that too. Let us know.
Cam is not a fan of Haggerty, man.
Yeah, he tried to come back and make nice
36%.
It's okay. It's all right, Cam. No, listen.
3 levels.
It wasn't my first thought either. It wasn't like I just don't go PJ Haggerty and immediately think like I want him shooting all the threes. But I get it. I mean, he definitely makes them. He's above the Heinrich line there.
Yep.
Heinrich line is 35%, 36. Boop. I can do that math.
Right. The Johnnies were in on Watkins last year. Yep. So
nice. Good stuff. All right.
Shot 15%.
We did the best. Well, there you go. A watched pot never boils or something like that. I don't know. Figure out what I mean by that, Cam. You're a smart guy. All right, we had best available bucket getters here. How about facilitators now, Mike? I'm going to give you 5. Desmond Claude, Leland Walker, Arturo Dean, Rashul Diggins, and Samaj Teal. That's right. We're going out to Presbyterian to Samaj Teal. That's right. 5 times per out there. Is he going to make your 2-pack up here on the board or somebody else? Claude, Walker, Dean, Diggins, or Teal?
Did Eric spend all of your salary this month on these graphics? What's up with that, man? Look at this. It's like Pokemon out here.
I actually got it. Well, we got to catch them all, first of all. And I actually told him to like take my next 4 months salary and put it towards these graphics. So
100%, man. I got to go with the first 2 names that you mentioned. So the first one was Desmond Claude. Transferring, it's just a guy that's 6'5", 6'6", that can get into the lane, can see over the defenses, man. The guard from USC, who's got a lot of options. The word is that Florida is in the running. I would be surprised if by tomorrow morning it commits to Florida, and then all of a sudden this show becomes obsolete. But that's how we roll, right? In the college basketball circles, man. But as of right now, as of recording, I'd say Desmond Claude, one of the best facilitators in the portal. And then I'll go with Leland Walker, man, the guard from FAU. Like, he's had a solid career. Just a guy that just takes care of the ball and makes the right decisions, man. So I really like his game. I don't think he's going to end up anywhere where we're going to be like, oh man, like this is going to be an impact power 5 guy, right? But I think if he goes to a program, it might even be a backup situation, man. Like sometimes you just need these guys that come off the bench and are able to kind of make some things happen and settle down or generate some offense or even settle down your offense. So I definitely like Leland Walker here. Although Johnny Casey and Arturo Dean, not voting for him out of this group though. Yeah, he's kind of a wild card, right? Like he loves to get transition. Arturo Dean is awesome. But he's wired to get some buckets there, man. But Desmond Claude and Leland Walker are going to make some teams happy and their teammates because they love to pass the ball.
We get bucket getters and facilitators. How about the round mounds of rebounds? Let's go there. The board getters here. We got James Scott, Baba Miller, Sean Stewart, Josh Ojonwa, and Denjay Harris. What do you think, man? I mean, these are guys that most of them are at power conference programs and really were crashed the glass quite well. Who do you got? Pick 2 of those 5. You got Scott, Miller, Stewart, Ojonwa, and Harris.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like just pure stats, right, like you would say Harris at 10.6, but it's more than that, right? It's minutes played, the defensive rebounding rate, offensive rebounding rate, all that comes into play. I think James Scott is going to be an impact player wherever he goes. I was actually I wasn't shocked when he got in the portal because obviously Kason Pryor, Ali Khalifa going to be back as hub 5s for that Louisville program. So, Scott getting out of there kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I think he's a guy that can get, 8 to 9 boards somewhere next year and be an impact player. And then I love Sean Stewart. He just can't stay on the floor. But if you're talking about a guy that makes an impact per minute, I mean, he's a great guy to have. I think Josh O, though, man, Ojonwa, the guy center from Baylor really could have used him in that game against Duke. Like they just didn't have any size playing, Mary back at the 5 spot, and it just didn't really work out. And he averaged 6.5 rebounds. He was having a hell of a season. So I think he's going to make a really big impact, not just on the glass, but I think he can make an impact defensively wherever he ends up, man. He's a big body, coached by Scott Drew. He's got that toughness. So as Darren's upset that his boy Sissoko, didn't jump in here as all these guys apply for all kinds of seasons and everything here. So these are the 2 guys that we have here. And rebounding's kind of tough, man, because this is one of those things, man, where it's like I feel like outside of scoring and facilitating, it's a little bit easier to quantify, right? Like rebounding is kind of one of those things, man, where you really got to look at the rates and then also look at, how many minutes these guys play. Because a lot of the bigs sometimes are in like timeshares where they play 20 minutes. Well, it's like Josh O at 20 minutes, man, like getting 6.5 boards. Like, he's doing his thing while he's out on the court.
Mike, I mean, these are guys. Okay, let's go. Which of these rebounders is best for Connecticut? Hey, man, Paul's really wanting to fill out that Huskies roster. Any of these think are landing spots possibly for them?
Yeah, I think
these guys.
Josh O would be awesome. Like as a honestly, the way that Hurley's like to play is he's like to have like a Samson Johnson or a Klingon, right? Be a rim protector for them. I think a John could give them the rebounding and the rim protection. We talk about more of a defensive big. But I just don't know if those guys are going to settle for that role as maybe a potential backup to Terrence Reed. So, but yeah, any of these guys. I mean, anytime you get these big bodies that can rebound, man, like you want to get those guys because sometimes they're the game changers when you get to the tournament.
Let's scroll back up in the live chat before we get out of here. Talking about some of the facilitators, Cam was saying he feels like the Tar Heels need Claude for him to feel confident that they can win 60% of their ACC games. Is that a fit that you would feel comfortable with, Mike? Claude going to Carolina Blue there?
Yeah, I think that would. I think that makes a lot of sense. Although, I feel like Florida makes a lot of sense for Claude as well, man. So we'll see where he ends up there. But yeah, I'm with you, Cam.
Listen, man, it's hard. It's hard for me to look at Chad Baker, Mazzara, at some of these guys that are, asking for maybe an extra year that are 23 years old. And then you got CBM out there collecting Social Security on the West Coast and still playing ball. But listen, it's okay. I don't mind these guys throwing their names in, Mike. Like we talked about some of those guys that there's no way that they've used up all their years and they're just putting their name in the portal just in case something crazy happens, right? And they somehow grant if you played college basketball and had 5 left-handed layups your sophomore year that you get an extra year of eligibility or something like that. Yeah.
Hannibal Scott. I love that picture with the mask on there. That's awesome. And Scott going to NC State. I know he's visiting. I don't think he's made any decisions. Doesn't look like it based on.
Riley hopping in there, Mike saying Claude going to Florida.
What's up, Riley? Yeah, I think
Riley planting his flag there.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Saying Claude will end up out there. We shall see. And then I want to clean up a little bit of housekeeping here. Apologies to Samaj Teal. He played at Presbyterian. He played last year for the Sycamores out at Indiana State.
Yep.
So he'll be now, obviously making his move elsewhere, looking to dish out them dimes. All right, good stuff, man. The live chat was on fire tonight. Little fire emojis, if you will. Thanks for everybody for playing their parts and doing what they can to make the One and Done universe everything that it is. We definitely appreciate everybody tonight. I appreciate my guy at Fantasy Nav for spending my next 20 months, I think, salary on those graphics tonight. Nape asking earlier in the live chat, I saw he asked if we get paid. Nape, the answer is no. I just told you I don't get paid because all of my money goes to the graphics department for sure. All right. Mike,
top left-handed layuppers.
Top left-handed layuppers in the portal. I promise you, it's not me. I don't know if I hit more than one left-handed layup, like just straight up left-hand layup. I was always the cheater. I would cheat get off the right hand or something. No left hand in this guy.
I'll go with Donovan Dan. A left in the portal, probably PJ Haggerty.
There we go. All right. I mean, me and PJ, I'll do a right-handed layup contest against him if he wants. I'll do it.
Oh man, he might be more interested in a slam
I'll
dunk.
Go right hand. No, I'll go right hand. It'll be fun. All right, good stuff there. All right, anything else in the live chat? No. All right, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us tonight. Mike, any final thoughts before we close out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get some news over the next couple of days on some of these last big portal targets, and then the guys that are at the very, very top there in the NBA draft. I mean, we're going to have teams waiting because some of these guys are coming out. And it could be close to late May before we get any clarity on that situation. So the landscape is going to be ever changing, even as we get into late May and early June.
And there's only one place that you need to be to hear about it all. Right here, One and Done college basketball on YouTube, WON_DONE. It says it right there on your screen. And right now, it's scrolling on the bottom of the screen at One and Done CBB on all the socials. Johnny, if you can do just like left-handed, one-handed shots or left-hand anything, honestly, you got me. Okay, HORSE right away. Maybe one day we'll get to do that. So good stuff, Johnny. Darren, thanks for dropping the fire emojis in the chat and for everything that you do to keep us on our toes. Thanks to Riley, Paul Costa, first time, long time. He hadn't been lingering, but I hope he lingers a little bit longer. He's gonna let it linger. We'll do it. Napier hopping in there as well. Who else? Anybody I'm missing? Way up in the live chat. Cam, of course, our guy Appreciate you. Snake's Eyes hopping in early on as well. Love us some Snake's Eyes. Make sure you follow us on all the socials. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Follow my guy at The Real Napier, the Hall of Famer, CC Hustle. Nate pushing the buttons tonight. At Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets is our guy, Eric the Blue, getting those fire-ass graphics up for you on your screen all the time. I was joined tonight by the best in the biz to do it, El Capitan himself. That man is the captain of the one-and-done ship, Mr. Mike Holland. Don't go too far. Push on those notification bells on your YouTube app watching device so you know every time we go live, because you never know when that's going to be, but we know we're bringing the heat, just like our guy Paul Costa did in the live chat. I am Jay Heinrich at Dr. William Cannon in those Twitter streets. Make sure you follow me. I'll follow you back. Tell somebody that you love them. Take care of yourselves. JAYHEINRICH. Come again. We'll see you.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.